Hello everyone, James S. Cassidy here, and it's time for another M-Blog. That's right, the Naruto blog, where you get to ask me questions, and I get to answer them as best as my abilities to give you the answers that you were looking for. Now, today's week, it's actually been requested by two people, Serenity Namikaze and Shadow Wolf, two very good people special to me, but they wanted to know my views on Asspulls. Okay, for those of you who don't know what an Asspull is basically, it's kind of like a cop-out. It's basically what happens when a writer puts himself into a corner or a situation that he knows he's going to have a hard time getting out of logically, so he pulls something out of his ass to literally make the situation happen. Sometimes this is Deus Ex Machinas, where it's a massive reset button. Sometimes it's an ability that a character who has never been shown to have automatically uses this ability right off the bat. And sometimes it's just a situation that it just so happens to work in that favor without any real explanation or Chekhov's gun or anything of that nature. When it comes to Naruto, every character has at least ass-pulled once. Okay? No character has never been guilty of it. I'm even gonna go on record and say that maybe Sakura's Byakugo seal is an ass-pull, but it's a stretch to make it an ass-pull, because there is a legitimate explanation with it, but I digress. Every character has at least ass-pulled once in Kishimoto's story. The biggest offenders to ass-pulls is the Uchiha clan. Now, you probably could say, well, what about, when you mean like Sasuke? Yeah, but not just Sasuke. Sasuke, Madara, Itachi. Biggest ass-pullers in this entire story. Sasuke's whole character can be defined as simply the ass-pull machine. This is a character who has been through several situations where he's almost died, close to death, would have died, but somehow manages to get these techniques or abilities out of nowhere that just save the day and automatically save his ass. And oh my god, I don't even want to, I don't even want to. This is the one reason why I hate Sasuke so goddamn much, is because his character is so heavy on the plot armor and the ass pulling that it's not even real. He doesn't feel like a real character that you can relate with, that you can understand, or that you can somehow sympathize with. No, he's just a character who just so happens to be at the right place at the right time, or just so happens to have this loophole out of nowhere that, it's not even a knowledge thing. It's not even like he knows a technique and all of a sudden, boom, he can get out of anything. That's more Madara. That's his ass pull. He just so happens to know everything in the field. Well, almost everything, but I digress. But Sasuke, oh my god. I swear to... Kishi is very bad when it comes to Sasuke and his ass pulls, because he's done it with the Great Snake Escape. If nobody knows what that is, I will explain it. It's the fight with Deidara and Sasuke, where Deidara was going to explode himself, and Sasuke, being out of chakra, uses 2 or 3 heavy chakra techniques in order to get out of a situation. A nuclear explosion, basically, at the blast zone in a matter of milliseconds, and he escapes explosion that's merely feet away from him. The fuck? How? How can you do that? How can you sit here and make an established rule and then break it not but 5 seconds later? Like, oh my god. Kishimoto basically, thinking, okay, I have to put Sasuke in a situation where it's going to be tough for him, where he doesn't win an easy battle, but manage to get out of him. And he managed to make the fight too tough. He put Sasuke in a corner that he knows he would never get out of, and he manages to get out of it without any explanation other than the fact that, well, sorry, not no explanation, but he managed to get out of it despite opposite objections that he has made where he's out of chakra. Oh my god. And this isn't even counting the fact that his lightning technique all of a sudden affects ground attacks? What? What? Has nobody ever played Pokemon before? You know, has Kishi never played Pokemon where electric type Pokemon are weak against rock type, ground type Pokemon? Yeah, Kishi, I think you need to brush up on your elemental wheel here, because no, that's an Asspull within itself. But whatever, I could tolerate it. It's fine. Okay, it's an early battle for Sasuke. But this is only the beginning of his fucking Asspull. He Asspulls in the Itachi fight because apparently Itachi was dying of a disease the whole time, and Sasuke would have lost that fight if Itachi didn't just drop dead right on the spot, which he literally did. He just dropped dead. And he was barely alive the whole fight, and he still managed to kick Sasuke's ass. He had a complete handicap against him, and he still kicked Sasuke's ass. Wow. You know, so kudos to Itachi, but shame on Kishimoto for, you know, putting that kind of thing in there. Later on in the story, which I think is the biggest Asspull this Kishi has ever written, is the whole reincarnation Asspull. Now, what this is if you've been keeping up with the manga, recently Naruto and Sasuke are apparently the reincarnations of Hagoromo's sons. So basically, Naruto is Asura, and Sasuke is Indra. Bullshit. Okay. This is bullshit for two reasons. One, this is bullshit because it's supposed to make Sasuke relevant. Now, I swear to God, Sasuke was irrelevant to this whole story this whole time, and now all of a sudden he's one of the most important aspects of the story because he just so happens to be the reincarnation of a dead person. Good job, Kishi. You know, good job just, you know, like, again, writing yourself into a corner and trying to cop your way out of it by using an Asspull to try to make Sasuke relevant again. Now, there always was the relevance of Naruto having to save Sasuke, but that was the only relevance he had in this entire story. Other than that, Sasuke really wasn't worth a damn in this story. He was just an obstacle Naruto had to get through. And this, all of a sudden, you just have to make Sasuke important with this. Which I think is the reason why people hate Sakura so much right now, or having problems with Sakura, is because I think she's so weak compared to Naruto and Sasuke. Well, Kishi, when you have, you know, your two characters Asspull powers out of nowhere all because they drop dead, yeah, you're gonna have problems, you know? It's gonna look bad compared to the other characters. It's gonna look shitty. But this isn't even the half of the Asspulls that occurred. But I'm not going to cover them all. You already know most of them. I just wanted to cover the basics. Madara is another one who's Asspull. Like I said, he's an Asspull in terms of, I know everything, I know all the keys, I know all the back doors, I planned everything. He's not like Aizen Asspulling. Aizen Asspull is basically, I predicted everything. Every step you make, I planned it. And that literally was Aizen. He knew everything, and I mean literally everything. He knew that Kishima. He knew that Ichigo was going to step right at that certain spot. He knew how every battle was going to play out down to the finest detail. Yeah, that's an Asspull. Madara is the Asspull in the sense that no matter what is thrown at him, he can top it. He can bypass it. He can top it. He can do anything. He's even broken his own rule set that he established earlier in the manga. He said, there was a time that Madara says, you cannot control Susanoo without both the Sharingan eyes. He says this, you cannot, without the Mangekyo Sharingan, you cannot control Susanoo. Well, turns out he was brought back to life. He has no eyes, and yet he's still able to summon Susanoo. What the fuck? This is also comparable to how he just so happens to resummon himself as an Edo Tensei. Yeah, you heard that right. Resummon himself as an Edo Tensei. Jesus, this guy, and no matter what is thrown at him, he has a back door for it. He knows all the back doors to every technique, even the techniques that never were invented in his lifetime. He knew about. He knew exactly how to work these techniques. Like, how does he know about the Edo Tensei period? There's no way. It was invented by Tobirama, the younger brother of Hashirama. How the hell did he figure that one out? Especially when Hashirama beat him even before then. But anyway, whatever. Itachi has an Asspull where he uses an eye technique against Kabuto. It's the Izanami or Izanagi. I get those two confused. But he uses this eye technique that just so happens to only work on this particular situation, that does not require eye contact, does not require, cannot be blocked in any way whatsoever, and it just so happens to work against Kabuto to get him to free all the Edo Tenseis. Wow, way to pull that one out. This technique wasn't even hinted at early before, and here, you have him pulling this techniques out. And that's the point of these Asspulls. There's no presumption about these things occurring. There's no like Chekhov's gun where it leads up to this. There's no hints about this techniques or something like that, or abilities or anything of that sort, of these characters being able to do this stuff, and they just do it on a whim. Or it goes against the opposite of what was already established, like I said. The Uchiha are the biggest offenders, and this is why I have dubbed the Uchiha's greatest power is not the Sharingan, but the Asspull-no-jutsu. That's right, you heard of the Talk-no-jutsus? Well, this is the Asspull-no-jutsu. Just bend over and pull it out where the sun don't shine, because Uchihas are unstoppable. Except when you have an ancient woman come out of nowhere and just stab Madara through the chest, which, is basically an Asspull beating an Asspull, but, isn't that kind of, like, it's so damn literal, using an Asspull to kill an Asspull. But, yeah, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous that writers do this sometimes, and, okay, writers make mistakes. I'm not saying that they're perfect, but when you start doing this more often than not, without that careful planning, it starts to make the story look bad. You just can't have characters go willy-nilly, do whatever they want, and then have other times have set rules where they can't do that same technique. That looks bad. It's like the same with Gurren Lagann and the whole Simone becoming God thing, where where these series have no rules, nothing. They don't care, and then all of a sudden boom. Now all of a sudden they pull something in there to either make the fight more challenging, or all of a sudden explain why Simone doesn't just blow up everything, or why Simone doesn't just bring all the dead people back to life. Well, he just so happens to develop a moral conscience. Yeah, okay, you already jumped the shark like several fucking times throughout the story. You might as well just keep going with it. I mean, if you're not gonna care, you might as well not care all the way through the journey. It at least would make things consistent, but the fact that, you have to resort to this crap, and all of a sudden to explain why some characters are not going to return, yeah, come on, don't do that. I mean, at least Dragon Ball was a little bit more lenient when it comes to this, where it's like, okay, we got the Dragon Balls, we'll just wish people back to life. That's fine. Dragon Ball Z really didn't give a fuck. It was just all about the action, and nothing really about the consequences, so that's fine. I don't care. It's shallow, it's cheap, but whatever. It's Dragon Ball Z was never the kind of series that was meant to be taken that seriously anyway. It's like one of those 80s action movies where you're just watching it for the entertainment. There's really no complicated plot. It's not meant to be this deep philosophical thing. It's just meant to be, here's action, shit blows up, good guys win in the end. That's basically what those stories are. Now, when it comes to Naruto, though, Naruto's a little bit of a more complicated story, which is why the Asspulls are a little harder to swallow. It's because you break the realm of the reality that the story is in, and it's really bad to do that. Now, some people have Asspulls that they plan the whole time, which can technically be Asspulls, but also more reasonable Asspulls because it was a planned event. The writers knew this going in, that they were going to do this. It would have been nice to have a little bit more heads up to it, but whatever. You know, it happens. Writers are not perfect. Again, I'm not judging Kishimoto's story of Naruto and basically saying, well, he ass-pulls too much is a bad story. No, it's the fact that if you have to resort to ass-pulls to get the story to keep moving, that's what makes the story bad. When it comes to Naruto, the story was pretty much okay. The ass-pulls were tolerable up to the point of maybe the pain arc, and then everything, when it started the Four Shinobi War, everything kind of went downhill from there. When it started from the Kage Summit arc and the Four Shinobi War, everything just went downhill, and everything was ass-pulled into oblivion. Things would just happen on a whim. Nothing made sense, you know? So, whatever. It's heartbreaking to see Kishimoto go from this serious story writing element where with a little bit of silliness but a little bit of like deep meaning behind it, and then just crank everything up to 11. Sure, he cranked up the story and the deep methods of thinking with this deep philosophy, which is great. I love that. You know, you finally get a hero that's actually put through the paces, not just strength-wise like with Goku, but actually put on a moral battlefield where, you know, they are challenged with those morals. But the fact that you have to ass-pull these powers into it in order for the fights to be more interesting, I'd rather much take the story element with it. But not all story elements are that great. Like I said, the reincarnation story element, that's just bull. It really is. That wasn't a method to make these characters stronger. It was a method to make Sasuke more relevant and more important to the plot, because he wasn't as relevant and as important as before. You know, what also is a bullshit ass-pull is when I hear Naruto, and I gotta say this, it's one last thing, is when Naruto calls Sasuke a great friend. He says this, he's quote-unquote a great friend. No, he's not. Okay, this is a guy that wants to kill you, treated you like shit, called you worthless, treated your girl like shit, insulted your girl several times in front of your face. He's not a great friend, okay? Gaara was a great friend. Yeah, he tried to kill you before, but he's trying to make up for that. You know, mistakes are one thing. Trying to make up for those mistakes is one thing. You know, people can change like that. It happens. But the fact that you call someone a great friend despite them continuing to be that asshole jerk to you, no, that is not a great friend. That's never a great friend. You don't call someone a great friend that treats you like shit every single day. You don't do that unless you're some masochist person that loves being tortured and beat up every single moment of your life because you find some sexual arousal to it or some kind of mental state of like, well, this makes me a better person. Karen. But anyway, I digress. It's bullshit, it's stupid, it's an ass-pull. You're trying too hard to make Sasuke relevant in the story. Following this video, I want to do my reasons about the why I hate Sasuke. I mean, really go into an in-depth look at why I hate Sasuke. Because I know people have been asking me about that. It's not just, you know, it's not because of the pairing wars. It's not because I hate it, you know, I hate his character. There's a legitimate reason why I hate his character. But I will explain that in the next video. Anyway, when it comes to Asspull-no-jutsus, writers, please try to avoid them. I mean, I know there are some times when you make mistakes and you put yourself into a corner and you have to ass-pull your way out of it. That's fine. The readers can tolerate an ass-pull here and there. When you're doing it too often, it looks bad. It really does. Madara just ass-pulling everything that put up against him was just so bad. It really is. And then you finally have the heroes be powerful enough to actually fight this guy, and then you ass-pull another villain that's even more stronger than that into the scene. That makes no sense of where they came from. There's Kaguya came out of nowhere. She just came out of left field, out of nowhere, despite already established that the black Zetsu and the white Zetsus were that were Madara's and Hashirama's will, respectfully. But now all of a sudden, the black Zetsus is Kaguya's will, and the white Zetsus are actually people that were formerly put into the Infinite Tsukiyomi, and were original people that were transformed in the white Zetsus. Yeah, come on, Kishi. You know, come on. That really is crap. I have a theory about Kaguya and where she came from. I mean, I believe that the Gito Mazo was a mummified, sealed version of Kaguya. And if you want, I could do a video about that and why I think that is, but I'm not going to discuss that here. But other than that, other than my theory, there's no explanation why Kaguya has showed up at all to this battlefield. There's no reason why she showed up. There's no reason why Sasuke should even be a part of this war, other than trying to be more relevant other than Kishi trying to make him more relevant than he really is, and more important. There's no reason why Naruto should call Sasuke a great friend. Especially when there's so many things going against that logic. It's so bad. I mean, I facepalm every time, and I love this story. Don't get me wrong. I love Naruto. I love reading it. I'm interested to see what's gonna happen, but there are a couple things I'm taking with a huge grain of salt, and I don't know how much I can just keep swallowing it down. That sounds wrong. How much I could keep taking before I just call absolute bullshit and just throw the manga to the side and be like, no, you're just gonna ass pull it anyway. And please, Kishi, please, for the love of God, don't ass pull Sasuke together. I'm sorry, you built up so much for, Naruto and Sakura. Hell, even Naruto and Hinata have more development than Sasuke. Do not ass pull these two people together. Please, for the love of God. I mean, I know you're probably not gonna do it, but I'm just saying right now, please don't do that. Please, just if I will say this right now, I will accept every other ass pull if you don't put Sasuke together and make Naruto canon. I will accept every other ass pull right here, right now. I'm willing to say that in this recording. I will accept all those other ass pulls if you make Naruto canon and get Sasuke to actually be punished for everything that he's ever done. So please don't ass pull that one. That would just be an utter kick in the nuts. It really would. Or kick in the ovaries if you're a woman reading this story. No offense. But I'm just saying, it just, I have no words for it. It would just make me so angry. Because it's not even because of my pairing choice. It's because of the story integrity, like I said. When you start messing with the story's integrity or the plot integrity, you're going to have a bad story. And, anyway, that's all I got for you on the Asspulls. I hope you enjoyed this one. I thought I'd put a little bit more emotion on this spin instead of just, being more explanatory and with facts and stuff like that. I just wanted to give my own opinion of the situation. So, I hope you enjoyed listening as much as I enjoy making these. If you want to leave a comment down below, feel free to do so. If you want more topics you want me to talk about in the future end blogs, go ahead, shoot them to me. I would be happy to do them when I get the time to do them in the middle of doing podcasts and such like that. And if you have any more Asspulls you want to discuss, go ahead and leave them in the comments. But other than that, I wish you all a happy day. The chapter's coming out pretty soon, so enjoy it. Hopefully it's not going to suck. And I'll see you next podcast.